So we have got a short supplementary intro video for Tract 44, specifically because we wanted to show kind of a change that was made for a pond that was constructed on the property. So 44 is a beautiful property. It's got a meadow on the north end, and if you happen to look at, if you're looking at this picture in the middle, that's a wintertime picture. This listing was created a couple years ago, right before the property was leased out. Now it's available for sale, and we have not been in the Cave Hollow area to take updated pictures or videos, but we did notice on the aerial map that there was a change, so that's what we wanted to show here with this video. So as far as we knew, there was only one area where there might be a pond on this property. It was at the edge of this meadow on the north side, where some material had been dug out for the roads. But then as we looked at the aerial, it looked like that had maybe been filled back in over the last couple of years. Maybe the person who was leasing it, not sure about that. But I'll show you what we're kind of excited about. And we talked to our road crew to verify this. There's an outline of Tract 44. Oh, also, the listing was created before the survey was complete for Cave Hollow. So we were going off being told that the property was about 6 acres in size. It turned out that it is over 8 acres in size. So survey confirms it's 8.242 acres in size. So that is always a nice surprise. But we're going to page down to the interactive map. There you go. We've called it the MapRight map forever. They changed the name fairly recently. Now it's called the Land ID map. But it's essentially the same map with a little more of a dressed up look to it. And you can use the interactive map directly in the listing page. You'll probably have better results if you click on the link that says full screen. We're on a laptop computer and it says full screen. If we were on a phone or a tablet, the link might be at the bottom and it might say something slightly different. But either way, when you click on that, it's going to open it up within another screen or another browser. Just like that. We've actually got one open here. Okay. So that opened up in a different browser. We zoomed in and we're looking at Tract 44. So the nice thing, one of the nice things about the MapRight or the Land ID is you can change the base map. So you can do a Google map, you can do different types of aerials, you can do a topo map. This particular aerial is not a Google map. It's what's called the hex aerial, which is another pretty good one. And the hex aerial is showing us kind of what we already knew, that the property is 90% wooded, has a pretty open meadow up in the northwest. If we were to zoom in here, and it's not super clear, but that area there is where that material was taken out, and we thought there might be a pond there. But if we switch now to a Google map, Google base map, and Google base maps are generally the most updated, though not always. But let's switch to the Google base map. There we go. So what that is showing us is we've actually got a pond at the southwest area of the property. So if we zoom in toward that meadow on the northwest, you can see the open pretty meadow, and you can see what looks like it was maybe that area where someone was starting a pond or some fill had been taken out. And you can't really tell from the Google aerial, but it looks like it's been either partially filled back in or maybe completely filled back in. I'm not sure. But when we go down to the south end, you can clearly see that someone has built a pond down there. And so we did talk to the guys who were doing the roads out here, improving the roads, and they said, yeah, that was the case. Just before this property was leased out, they needed some more good material for the roadbed, and they happened to find a nice deposit, I guess, of clay and gravel mix at that southwest corner. And so they took that out and built up some roads, and then they turned it into a really pretty pond. So I don't know if you can really even see it in this aerial, but it's got a nice big dam here at the south side. And I'm guessing this Google aerial was updated within a few months after they had finished this. Because it is holding water, but you don't have any of the greenery around here, which you'll get after about a year. So this is probably pretty recently after that was done. We haven't been out there to see how well it's holding water. I mean, if that's a deal breaker for you, then you probably want to check beforehand. But the guys did about 8 or 10 ponds similar to this out there, and they are a skilled crew, and every pond they did that we've seen is holding water. So good chance that that's got some level of water in it, which is really cool, because that's a much nicer pond than this one on the north ever would have been. It's quite a bit bigger than the one on the north would have been, and again, this is not going to be the full water level on this pond. I'm sure they had it probably planned out to be 2 or 3 times that big. It'll be fun, even if we don't get out there to see it, it'll be fun in another few months or a year or whatever, when that aerial photo updates again, we'll probably have a better idea of how much water that's holding. But that's kind of a little bonus we did not know about Tract 44. So we had the little bonus, or the big bonus, of that pond at the southwest, and the big bonus of it being substantially bigger than we thought. We were thinking 6 acres. It's 8.242 acres, which is fantastic. Great location. We won't do an entire intro with this, but just really quickly, let's go to topo map, because that's another nice thing about this property. It actually sits nicer than just about any property out here. Basically what the topo was telling us, it's the highest on the north end, slopes down as you go southerly, but if you look at the big distance between those contour lines, for 2/3 of the property anyway, that is a very gradual slope. I mean, there's going to be definitely portions of that are just plain flat. In fact, we know that meadow at the north end is more or less flat. This white area, by the way, this is the vintage topo map. So these were created in about the 1950s, and the green areas meant that at the time the map was created, they were basically tree covered, and the white areas were pasture or meadow or whatnot, something like that. And so at some point, 50 or 70 years ago, there was kind of a big, possibly natural meadow on Tract 44. And then if we switch to the Google map, now you've got kind of the open meadow here. But according to the topo, at one time, there was a meadow going through the center and then over into this other tract and back again. So that could have been part of an old farm. There's just no telling, but it's interesting to see that on the topo map anyway. So yeah, gorgeous property. Again, this was just a short intro. We'll throw it into the listing page so you can see it, but someone's going to get a good deal on this property, and it's one of the prettier tracts out there. It's got a good location. It's got a ton of opportunity for very private sites, because you've got all this timber where you could easily create a nice site tucked into the timber there. Plus you've got the meadow area, and of course you have setbacks from all the shared roadways, but I'm going to say that for sure a portion of that meadow is beyond the setback distance, so that might give you an opportunity to do something up there as well. So and this pond is likely going to be big enough that you could stock it with some fish if you want to. We do that with a lot of the ponds, and it's fantastic. So yeah, check it out. If you have any questions, just let us know. But that's Tract 44 at Cave Hollow. It is 8.242 acres in size.